Good morning, Atlanta communities, and welcome to Wake Up to Broker Up with Mark, episode number 28. Last week, for 4th of July, you may remember that we talked about freedom and independence, and this week we want to talk about independent thinking. One of the trends in real estate right now is that buyers are presenting offers with no contingencies, and sellers, on the other hand, are accepting offers with no contingencies. Sellers are quite fixated on price and price only and not paying attention to other terms and conditions in offers. So, one of the things I want to challenge you to do is to think independently. If you're representing a seller and you get an offer with no finance contingency or a finance contingency with 0 days, the seller may want to counter with 1, 2, or 3 days in a finance contingency exhibit. Why, you may ask? Well, because if the finance contingency ends without the buyer terminating, the seller has the ability to request written evidence that the buyer has the ability to close by getting a loan commitment from each one of the lenders involved in the transaction. If the buyer doesn't provide the loan commitment letter within the specified time frame, the seller can terminate the agreement. That's really important because we've had a trend lately, where we're getting to the end and for whatever reason the buyer can't finance the property. This way the seller could have been out maybe days earlier, if not a week earlier or more. So again, counter for finance contingency days. The FHA, VA, USDA, and conventional loan contingency exhibit all have paragraphs 7 and 8, which give the seller the ability to request written evidence in the form of a loan commitment, and if they don't get it, they can terminate. Also, the all cash exhibit has the ability for the seller to get information about the buyer's ability and financial capability to close on the transaction and to make sure the buyer has the funds. On that note, one thing I also want to talk to you about is maybe having the seller counter for the buyer using the seller's lender. That way the seller has more control. The seller may end up needing to pay appraisal or credit report or maybe a few dollars in closing costs to get the buyer to switch to the seller's lender, but if they do, then the seller has more control. Sometimes that's important. The seller can't be just fixated on price. They need to think about other terms and conditions, because the worst thing that can happen to the seller is they think they're going to get a really big price and it doesn't close. Have a great weekend. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.